Sandy Fonzo, whose son took his own life after he was sentenced by former Judge Mark Ciavarella, was at Michael Conahan's sentencing this morning. Here are her reactions to Conahan's 17-and-a-half-year sentence.
I would have been much happier with the 20 years that was recommended. I could live with, maybe sleep with 17-and-a-half years. And I felt that it was a little more heartfelt than Ciavarella. I wish he could have stood up and turned around and maybe looked at us when he apologized. But you know, all that apology and all that doesn't change anything that happened, and you know, it's irreparable.
Sandy, the defense and apparently former Judge Conahan tried to paint themselves as different people.
Yeah.
An apologetic Conahan, an antagonistic
And you know,
Ciavarella.
that's the thing that, well, yeah, and the whole part about, you know, Conahan getting to, you know, the many faces of Conahan and everybody else. You know, our kids didn't get to be there, and we didn't get to show that our kids, you know, besides just the little bit of mistake that they made, which was what kids do, they learn and grow from their mistakes, didn't get to, you know, paint the picture of who they were, you know, outside of their little mistakes that they made, you know. It just doesn't matter. And, you know, and Conahan, to me, he was the boss of that courthouse. He was the one that had all that power to first close down that county-run juvenile detention center, to appoint Ciavarella to be the only one to try all of these juvenile cases that came through, and then 3, to be a part of the whole manifestation of this new center, PA Childcare, you know, with all of his cronies, the Zappala family, Powell, Miracle. He had, I mean, that's a whole different story, the breakdown of every system that allowed that to happen. But to me, my true message is that all of that corruption was able to take place and did take place because for-profit incarceration is legal and a billion-dollar industry in our country.
Do you believe him when he? Do you believe him that he was sorry?
I didn't feel in my heart that any, you know, and I don't know.
Yeah, you know, Mark Ciavarella made you mad when he did not acknowledge the kids for cash.
Absolutely.
Did you feel at least that?
I felt it was a total different scenario, and like I said, I would have liked for him to turn around and look at us, you know, look into our eyes and say that he is sorry. Not, you know, not that it could ever bring back my son, and not that there's still any help being given to any of these kids. You know, it's just irreparable. But I feel that, yeah, it was a different feeling. Yeah, I was, you know, upset when I came up and didn't see, you know, a lot of the people that were here for Ciavarella's. I didn't see a lot of the families, and a lot of, you know, so it's sad, you know, it's very sad because, you know, with Ciavarella, it was that personal, you know, we stood with our kids right in front of him, looked into his eyes and begged him and pleaded with him that, you know, our kids don't deserve this, that this is what's happening because of this. And he just, you know, Conahan was the one that put him in that position, and he was the one that Ciavarella basically did his dirty work for him, you know. So I mean, yeah, he was the boss. He should have received just as much time in my eyes, but you know, he didn't put us through the trial. He didn't, you know, he cooperated more. So, you know, would I have preferred the 28 years too? Of course, you know, but I'm just happy that because of not, you know, this huge outrage, this huge outburst of like Ciavarella had going in, that he did at least receive 17.5 years and not 7 years. So I think I could sleep with that.
Sandy, with all the corruption that's happening in the area, how did it make you feel when he tried to take sole responsibility when he said it's not the county that's corrupt, I'm the one that's corrupt?
That's absolutely ridiculous. There was a breakdown in every single level. I mean, our DA, her office was totally inattentive to the whole thing. Not one time did she ever step foot, you know, and now after the fact, you know, she's come up with this juvenile panel. It's too little, too late. Every one of them. I mean, I went to the judicial committee that they had, the judicial forum. Every one of them. Lisa Gelb stood up and said that everybody knew what was going on. Every one of them. You know, they all knew that entire courthouse, any assistant DAs, Al Flora, that's an absolute, I'm trying to get his, I have a petition going for his resignation. That's the biggest conflict of interest. Every one of these, you know, and it's all just the same blood. They're all tied in. Jackie Musto hired Ciavarella's daughter as an assistant DA. It's just absolutely, every level, there was nobody. Greg Skrepnak, Sandra Brullo, the deputy probation department, every one of them, you know, there was a breakdown, not one of them, no checks and balance at all. And I mean, that's just a whole total different story, you know. But what I truly believe is that all of this was able to happen because for-profit incarceration, I mean, not even just legal in this country. I mean, it's devastating our entire nation on every level. But our country has 5% of the world's population, but 25% of the prison population. I mean, and the money that they're making off of this, you know, we just didn't have a chance. They were able to make money. Our kids were a $500 pawn. It was like an assembly line that just went through, and this happened. My son's life never should have had a price tag on it, and that's it.